So it's 6 o'clock and I am going to call the public hearing to order. And I'm gonna ask Bo to step forward and run through this. This is an opportunity for us to problem solve the articles or any financial stuff or any land use ordinances that people have questions of. You've had 2 weeks to sure go through it and make any mental or physical edits. So Bo, it's all yours.
Okay, on the agenda, we have land use ordinance.
Yeah, so we're required to have two public hearings. One is a land use ordinance public hearing that the planning board runs, and the second is the select board's public hearing for the remainder articles.
Okay, so we're skipping the land use ordinance at this point?
I mean, you're welcome to go through them because we do have Sam here, so she can answer any questions like she did last time.
Okay. You do it and we have.
No, there are supposed to be two coming.
We'll
tonight.
just run through Sam, and if anybody has any questions,
Yep.
then off we go. That's just article 3 to 3 to.
Okay, we have the floodplain management ordinance. We have the panel land use ordinance. Exhibit D. Okay, so, which is article? Excuse me? Article 3. Okay, Article 4, shall the town vote to repeal the floodplain management ordinance originally enacted at the March 9, 2009 special town meeting and any subsequent amendments, and further to enact an ordinance entitled 2024 floodplain management ordinance for the town of Pownell, enacted June 17, 2024 and effective June 20, 2024. Exhibits B and C.
Yep.
Any questions or comments there?
About the floodplain ordinance.
Basically, we're adopting the updated maps that we're required to, right?
That's correct.
Okay, we'll move along then. Ordinance, Article 3 to, shall the ordinance entitled 2024 Amendments to the Town of Pownell Land Use and Zoning Ordinance Section 400 definitions be enacted. That's Exhibit D, and then David. Any questions there? Are there any tweaks on the last meeting on that?
The only tweaks were just minor, adding the word committee to a later article and renumbering the narratives. That was about it.
Any questions about that? The Article 5 definitions? Okay, we'll move along. To Article 6, shall an ordinance entitled 2024 amendments to the Town of Pownell Land Use and Zoning Ordinance, Section 504 zoning districts be enacted. Up the ordinance shall be available to meetings. Exhibit E. Which is this guy here. Anybody has any questions on that? Comments? No? Okay. We'll move right along. Article 7C, shall an ordinance entitled 2024 Amendments to the Town of Pownell Land Use and Zoning Ordinance, Section 600 Performance Standards be enacted. That's Exhibit F. Any questions about that? Okay. And that was it on the ordinances. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to Article 3. Article 3 shall an ordinance entitled 2024 Amendment to the Pownell Solid Waste Collection and Disposal Ordinance be enacted. That's Exhibit A, which is this guy here. Any questions on that? Okay. We'll jump to Article 8. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $155,000 for the capital project fund. Select board, I was recommending approval. Any comments or questions on that one? Okay. Article 9, to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate $300,000 from the unassigned fund balance to the capital project fund. Any questions there?
I think I need to add up to.
I think you do.
Okay.
Just to make sure that we have it.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, and to see if the town, Article 10, to see if the town will vote to appropriate up to $153,231 from capital project fund for the purchase of the following items. Or to see what action the town will take. Public safety air packs, $109,519. Communications, $26,312. And the repeater system up to $17,400. Any comments or questions there? My question would be, do we need the other up to if we're voting on the total amount of 153,000?
So further on is an ARPA article, asking for money for the generator, the backup generator system, which would then alleviate some of that financial burden in the CIP. So that's why we did up to, because we may not need to use all of that. If the ARPA funds are approved, it will offset some of those. We just don't know the exact figure.
And also there's a grant pending for the air packs that we won't know about until July. So.
And since this article is speaking to those specific items, we have to name those specific items.
That's, I think we voted to add the up to last meeting.
Oh, Mr. Schuman.
Yes, since the article says up to total amount, up to for each of the individual amount. Yeah. The computer system ends up with the air pack.
I would agree with that.
Can I just say, to please come up to the microphone if we're sitting, because the recording doesn't pick people up in the audience.
So-
Thanks.
In this case, the question was, should each one of the individual items, air packs and communications and repeaters system, say up to the amount, rather than just the amount, all three of those. Any objection to adding that language to those three, just in case they come in lower? Okay. Really doesn't change the substance of it. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $268,000 from the capital projects fund. Appropriate up to $268,000 from the capital projects fund for the purchase of the following items, or to see what action the town will take. Public Works dump truck number 2 replacement, $268,000. Any questions on that? That number still seems good. Mr. Schuman, could you please?
Since the articles itself says up to 268,000, shouldn't the item also say up to 268,000?
To be consistent with the previous article, we should.
Thank you.
Any objections to adding that language? Nope. Any other questions on Article 11? Article 12, to see if the town will raise and appropriate $11,941 for the part-time IT position compensation, and the breakdown is there, compensation, FICA, Medicare, earned family medical leave. And the job description is in the Exhibit G. Anybody have any questions on that? Any comments or questions? Not seeing any? Okay. We'll move on to Article 13, see if the town will raise and appropriate $26,791 for the part-time public works position. Again, the breakdown is shown below. And those are being recommended by Budget Committee and Select Board. And the Exhibit H is the job description. Do we have any questions there? Okay. Article 14, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $552,290, $2 for general government. And the breakdown is shown there. Budget Committee and Select Board are in agreement on that figure. Any questions there? Okay. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $12,350 for human services. Those amounts, there's no change from last year on that, and everybody seems to be in agreement. Any questions there? Article 15. Okay. Article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $48,900 for Mallet Hall. Budget Committee and Select Board are recommending that figure. Any questions on that? Article 16. Okay. Article 17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $184,839 for public safety. Breakdown is there. Budget Committee, Select Board are in agreement. Any questions on that? Okay. Excuse me for a minute. It's heating up in here. I'm on a roll.
Better comb your hair.
Sound like my wife. Article 18, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $921,879 for public works. You can see the breakdown there. Budget Committee and Select Board are in agreement with that number. Any questions there? Okay. Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $166,223 for solid waste. And again, the breakdown is there. This Budget Committee was recommending $153,000. Select Board is recommending $166,000. And any questions there? Paul?
In Article 3, it says we're repealing the pay-as-you-throw program. Then in Articles 19, it says we're funding the pay-as-you-throw for 13,000. Then in the back of the warrant, it shows no revenue for pay-as-you-throw. So it seems to be inconsistent as to what we're doing.
So Paul, we need to decide whether, since we're moving into new territory with Casella, and everything is going to be sorted by bins, the town has to decide whether they want to continue to pay to throw, use the bags as a way to fund tipping fees. If the town decides to continue, we need the money at the last item on this Article 19, which is the $13,000 appropriation. If the town votes not to continue to pay to throw, we'll not need that $13,000, and we won't have any revenue coming from trash bags.
So if Article 3 passes, this article will be amended to reduce the 13,000.
That's correct. That was the best, I mean, confusing situation, so I'm glad you picked it up, and it's the best we could do in order, the town has to decide whether or not they want to continue.
Well, no, that makes sense. I didn't understand what the plan was based on the numbers.
Yeah, the worst case scenario is 166,000.
So we vote one way on Article 3, 13,000 is appropriate. If we vote the other way on Article 3, somebody's going to amend this. Take it out. Okay, great. Thank you.
Or just make a motion.
And we can't estimate the revenues because
That's a good point, Paul. Thanks for bringing it up.
Everybody understand that? Any questions? Other questions? Okay. Article 20, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate 37,000, excuse me, 3,700, sorry. 3,700 for Pownell Center Water Association. Budget Committee, Select Board are in agreement on that number. Any questions there? Okay. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $6,000 for cemeteries. Again, Budget Committee, Select Board are in agreement. Any questions there?
That's Article 21. You think about.
Article 21. That would be my dyslexia popping out.
Oh, no, it was just the recording phobia I
Yeah,
have.
no, that's fine. I appreciate the correction. Article 22, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $271,164 for debt service and other obligations. Budget Committee, Select Board are in agreement on that number. Any questions there? Article 23, to see if the town will vote see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $500 for the Recreation Committee Enterprise Fund. Budget Committee and Select Board are okay with the 500. Any questions there? Article 24, to see if the town will appropriate $11,200 from the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Funds, AKA American Rescue Plan or ARPA funds, received by the town from the federal government for the following project. Backup generator for the North Station Fire Department building to run the repeater tower. Select Board is recommending approval. Any questions there? Okay. See if the town will vote to Article 25, to see if the town will appropriate up to $60,000 from the coronavirus local fiscal recovery funds, AKA American Rescue Plan or ARPA funds, received by the town from the federal government for the following project: renovating 2 rooms in Mallett Hall for additional office space. Select Board is recommending approval. Any questions on that? Okay. Article 26, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $15,000 for the Economic Development and Sustainability Committee to investigate water capacity in the village district as part of the work charged to the committee. Select Board is recommending approval. Any questions on that one? Article 27, to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate up to $50,000 from unassigned fund balance for exploration of a site and design draft of a public safety and or public works facility for the Future Facilities Committee. Select Board is recommending approval. Excuse me, any questions or comments there? We're on to Article 28, to see if the town will vote to accept and apply $737,380 of the following non-property tax revenues to reduce the total amount authorized to be raised by taxation, and to see if the town will authorize the secretary treasurer to accept any additional revenues or funds and expend any other revenues from state, federal, local, and private sources for the support of the town that may be used to reduce the amount required to be raised by taxation. Any questions with that article? Okay. Article 29, to see if the town will vote to appropriate up to $12,560 from the dedicated impact fee open spaces fund for surveying town-owned land, Sweetser Road, map 4, lot 20. Approval is recommended by the Select Board. Any questions on that one? Okay. To see if Article 30, to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate up to $300,000 from the unassigned fund balance to minimize tax bill increase. Any Question about that one? Okay. Article 31, to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate funds remaining in the Pownell Center Water Association, AKA PCWA, operating funds at the end of fiscal year 25 to the PCWA Reserve Fund. Select Board's recommending approval. Any questions on that one? Okay. Article 32, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Select Board to explore acquiring the hall from the North Pownell Community Club located at 857 Lawrence Road for the use as a town building for $1, or to see what action the town will take. Any questions on that one? Okay. Article 33, to see if the town will enter into an easement agreement with the Royal River Conservation Trust for the property located on Elmwood Road, map 9, lot 43, or to see what action the town will take. And that is exhibit I, which is this one here. Do we have any questions or comments on that one? Okay, seeing none. Article 34, which is a written ballot, just to see if the town will vote to exceed property tax levy limit established for the town of Pownell by state law in the event that the municipal budget approved by the preceding articles result in a tax commitment that is greater than the property tax levy limit. Select Board is recommending approval. Any questions on that one? Article 35, to see if the town will vote to set September 15th, 2024, December 15th, 2024, and March 15th, 2025, and June 15th, 2025, as the dates on which 1/4 of taxes shall be due and payable, and to charge interest at the rate of 8.5% per year, computed on a daily basis on any portion of the installment dues that remains outstanding as of September 16th, 2024, December 16th, 2024, March 16th, 2025, and June 16th, 2025. Number 2, to see if the town will permit the tax collector or their designee to waive unintentional tax interest payment shortages in the amount not to exceed $5. And number 3, to see if the town will vote to authorize the tax collector to accept payment of real estate property taxes not yet due or assessed pursuant to 36 MRSA Section 506. The town does not apply interest on such collections. Any question on Article 35? Okay. Article 36, to see if the town will vote to set 4.5% as the rate to be paid by the town on abated taxes pursuant to 36 MSRA Section 506-A, and to authorize such interest paid or abatements granted to be appropriated from overlay funds, or if necessary, from unassigned fund balance, aka surplus. Any questions on that one? Article 37, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Select Board to transfer not more than 3% of the town's budget expenditures between budget line items within an individual department, provided that the town's total budgeted expenditures shall not be increased. I have a question on that one. Should it be individual department provided that the town's total budget expenditures or the department's individual budget?
Can you repeat?
Sure. It says, basically within the individual authorizing budget expenditures between budget line items within an individual department, provided that the town's total budgeted expenditures shall not be increased. And wouldn't it be that the total department's budget can't be increased? If the intent of the article is to allow movement between line items in an individual budget for a department, then it's really just that budget, that department's budget that would not increase, as opposed to the town's, because it can't increase the town's budget anyway.
Right.
By law. Unless you move it.
Pretty sure we've had this question before and we need to leave it, we needed to leave it obscure because of the definition of department budgets.
Fine.
I think when we had personnel, We had compensation between the departments. We had compensation in general government and compensation. That was why I'm not sure we still have, but I think we still have insurance to take care of between departments. So I think we're gonna have to leave. Still means the same thing that we're. I'm not sure, I can't quote chapter and verse and why we did it that way.
I can't completely recall the conversation. I think we had it a couple of years ago in a meeting. I mean, the end game is the budget, whether it's town or department, can increase because it's more of a housekeeping tool. So if, for instance, I had to buy a new computer, and I had a little bit of excess in another line, we move it until, such time as we, or like with grant money, we got a grant. We had to fund it up front and then we borrowed from another line. And then as soon as that money got paid back by, say, the state, if it was a grant, we just put it back in the line that we so-and-so borrowed from. So it's just a minimal housekeeping. I think we've done it once in my time here.
I'll definitely go back to that meeting that we had 2 years ago and make sure if there's some legal reason why we have that. And if it's not, then we'll address it. Okay?
Okay, yep, thanks.
Paul has a question.
On the floor.
Yes.
Is the answer, we only have one budget?
We do vote on departmental budgets. We don't vote on individual line items within those budgets. No, we are.
You up to the mic, Paul, because I think you raised a good point. Not like you don't always raise a good point, but this is a really good point.
I mean, as I was reading and listening to your question, we vote on a town budget. We have articles related to individual departments, but we don't have a public works budget or a public safety budget per se that we vote on. If you reading it the way you were reading it, Bo, I think that would mean that you could not offset an over expenditure in public works by an under expenditure in public safety. That would all be within the town budget.
I agree, and that point goes directly to my question.
Okay.
Because on the one hand, the article speaks to the town's budgeted expenditures, and then we're talking about moving individual, line items within an individual department. And it sounds like you're limiting that movement within the department, but in fact, that's not what it says that, but it's tied to the total budget.
Right, which I would think means that you could cover a over expenditure in public works with a shortage in public safety, because it's all one, as long as the town budget isn't increased
And as long as that transfer is no more than
3%, right? That's my 2 cents on the way I read it. Which I think gives you the maximum flexibility in terms of, otherwise you've got to do do all the balancing within public works or public safety, and then does everything fall within those two departments? Mallet Hall is not in either one of those, so.
It's a good point. Can I check?
You can, and if I can just add.
Absolutely,
something else.
please.
I think if it said something like, see if the town will vote to authorize select board to transfer up to 3% of the town's budget expenditures between individual departments, provided the total budget expenditures are not increased. Isn't that what you're asking for?
I would think that we're looking to cover a shortfall in one department from another department, should we need to.
reads transfer up to 3%. And then strike of the town's budget expenditure up to 3% of the town's budget expenditures between individual departments. Provided that the total budget doesn't increase. Does that make sense?
I was gonna suggest strike individual department. Because all of these are line items within the town budget. And I think the maximum flexibility is to move from one item to another, regardless of whether it's public safety, Mallet Hall, administrative, or public works. Because as soon as you get down to the individual departments, then we don't vote on the Mallet Hall budget. We don't vote on, I don't even know what departments we have other than public works and public safety, but I know those two don't cover the entire warrant. Am I right with that?
So technically, set up in trio, each one of these warrant articles preceding are departments, so to speak.
Well, that makes it
This is
even
the
more
word
clear.
that's used in trio when setting it up,
But that's a software term.
sure, but general government, public safety, public works are all their own departments.
I guess it's the intent. Is it the town budget that you're trying to focus on, or is it the departmental budgets? Departmental budgets, which would be much tighter because you're 3% of the public works budget, 3% of the public safety budget, 3% of the administrative budget.
So you speak to a good point, and the language, that used to be the language, and we were chastised during town meeting for having too much flexibility. So that's where the individual departments came in. So we revised that. I think that was 6 years ago. But I agree with you, but I think this verbiage is responding to a town meeting by one.
It just depends on what your intent. You can have it either way. It depends on what the intent is and what everybody understands.
I would agree. And my understanding always was that it limited it just within the department.
That's what. We don't want to use it as a stopgap. Right. To rescue one.
Rob the fire
Right.
and safety to
Right.
take care of that. So you're gonna.
I will.
Look at.
I will.
Okay.
I'll report back to the moderator.
Article 38, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to transfer any unexpended funds to the carry forward accounts within departments to complete projects for the previous fiscal year. Select board recommending approval. Any questions on that? Article 39, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board and town treasurer on behalf of the town to accept any gifts, unanticipated donations, or pass-through funds that may be provided by individuals, business associations, charitable groups, or other organizations which have not been listed in any of the previous articles, if the select board determines that the gifts, donations, or pass-through funds and their purposes are in the best interest of the town, and to expend such funds for their intended purpose. Any questions about Article 39? Article 40, see if the town will vote to authorize the town to seek, accept, and disperse grant funds from private, county, state, or federal agencies for the purpose of designated in each specific grant. Any questions about that one? Okay. Article 41, to see if the town will vote to allocate funds received from the registration of snowmobiles to those riders and Tri-Town Penguin Snowmobile Club for the purpose of maintaining their snowmobile trails, which are open to the general public without charge for snowmobile purposes and any other uses that may be authorized by the property owner. Any questions on that one?
You satisfied, Mr. Moderator, that we are?
I
Completed
am
our
with-
public
with
hearing.
the exception of the language on Article 37. And we just need some clarification of what we want folks to be voting on.
Perfect. Becky, as the town administrator, are you satisfied with our draft warrant?
I think we just have a couple of things to do and we're ready for signature. Yep.
Samantha, we all set, you think, with your article? Good. Select board, we ready to go with this? All right, then let's, yes, go.
Bill Schmidt, Polar Range Road. I just want to thank Bo and John and Kate and Andy and Becky and Samantha and everybody else. This meeting, the last meeting, and wow, the amount of work you put into this, it's incredible. And the way you've answered all the questions, especially from the last meeting and just all the time, just thank you so much for all the work, all of you put in, just incredible.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Could we get that on the video next?
All right, any further questions? Thank you, Bo. Great job.
Thank you.
Hopefully the town meeting will be just as brief.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. Any other questions before we adjourn this public hearing? Public hearing is now adjourned. I'd like to now call to order the regular select board meeting of Monday, May 13th, as always. Thank you so much, Sam. What a great job. And as always, and I'll wait for Sam to leave so she doesn't have to pledge of allegiance running out of the building. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the AP warrant number 24. The amount of $27,728.91.
I move that we pay AP warrant number 24 in the amount of $49,863.16.
I second.
Oh, I'm sorry, where am I? I'm on the minutes. My mistake. Thank you, Andy. It's been moved and seconded to pay AP warrant number 24, the amount of $49,863.16. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Great. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is payroll journal number 455 in the amount of $12,447.37.
I'll move that we pay payroll journal number 455 in the amount of $12,447.37.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to pay payroll journal number 455 in the amount of $12,447.37. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Next item on the agenda is the select board meetings minutes of Monday, April 8th, 6:30 regular meeting, and the select board executive session, Wednesday, April, I'll have to do those separate. So the select board regular session meeting, April 8th. Andy?
I'll move that we approve the minutes as written for the regular meeting of April 8th, 2024.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the select board minutes of regular meeting on Monday, April 8th. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the minutes of the executive session, Wednesday, April 17th at 6 o'clock.
I'll move that we approve the minutes of the executive session on April 17th, 2024 as written.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve the select board minutes of an executive session from Wednesday, April 17th at 6 o'clock. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Next item on the agenda is public comment on a non-agenda item. This is an opportunity for any resident of Pownell.
Oh, one more meeting, April 22nd.
Wow, you're right. This one, didn't we?
The April 8th was delayed because I didn't get them typed
Right.
in time. Yep.
Thank you, Andy. Next item that would be with the select board minutes of Monday, April 22nd. It was a 6 o'clock public hearing and a 6:30 regular meeting.
I'll move that we accept the minutes of the regular meeting and public hearing of April 22nd, 2024 as written.
Second.
Then moving second, to approve the select board minutes Monday, April 22nd. 6 o'clock public hearing and 6:30 regular meeting. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Now. Next item is public comment. It's an opportunity for anybody in the town of, a resident of town of Pownell to step forward and be heard by the select board. Is there any member of the public that would like to step forward and be heard at this time? Seeing none. Next item is department head reports. All department head reports can be found on the website. You click on the department, the report is right there. Mr. O'Brien, any questions for the department heads that are present?
I have none.
This day, any questions for the department heads that are present? Nor do I. Any comments from the select board and reporting out? Mr. O'Brien?
I have nothing
Stay.
to add at this time.
Okay. So now we'll move on to new business. First item under new business is the town warrant draft final updates if needed.
So I will add the words up to on Article 9, Article 10, and Article 11. And then we're gonna research the discussion on Article 37. I was thinking, I think we actually had another discussion about this about 2 years ago. We went through sort of so we may be able to find something sooner. The other thing I noticed is on Article 36, it should say MRSA, not MSRA, so I will correct that.
So we'll need to, how will we be able to revise Article 37 with a vote to approve at this meeting, or will we have to have the actual writing, have the select board see it? Would that require another public hearing?
It's a good question. I would really have to double check state statute. I think the point of the public hearings is for the final edit. So we've gotten feedback from this public hearing with some suggested, so I
We've been
think we're okay.
responding to the suggestion.
Correct, so I think
We
we're
need
fine.
to vote as a board to allow the revision of Article 37 if needed, based on evidence from previous meetings. I know that's the intent of the article is fairly clear. I just want to make sure that we don't get into any murky territory by bad language.
So we are set for signature on this at the next select board meeting in order for me to make state statute. So we'll just need to research our wording in between and then have a presentation that night with a final copy.
So I move with the select board allow a revision to Article 37 to be, I'm stumped here,
To clarify the intent.
to clarify that the intent is to transfer up to 3% between departments without increasing the town budget.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? Sure, all in favor? Okay, we got homework, Becky. So now do we move to approve the final draft, or are we all set?
You would do that at the May 28th.
Okay, so we're all set with that line? Want to make sure we're all set, so we can.
Yep, we are all set to move to the next.
Next item on the agenda is purchasing policy updates. Becky?
That is just a quick housekeeping. When we were looking at this policy, we realized it was using old titles, administrative assistant and board of selectmen. So the edit is just simply changing that.
And you just wanna move to approve the policy, we just need to move to approve.
I will move to approve the amendments to the town of Pownell purchasing policy.
I second.
Moved and seconded to amend the town of purchasing product policy to address changing titles. Any more discussion? All in favor? So moved. Next item on the new business is volunteer form, solid waste and recycling committee, David Nelson.
I'll move that we appoint Daniel Nelson to the Solid Waste and Recycling Committee.
I second.
Moved and seconded to appoint Daniel Nelson as a new member of the Solid Waste Reduction and Recycling Committee. Any further discussion? All in favor? Thank you, Daniel Nelson.
We did do that oath to go through next June. We didn't feel like a month and then having to re-oath was relevant this time.
Bless you.
Next item on the agenda is Farmers Market Committee. Charge and direction moving forward.
So we've had two residents fill out volunteer forms and they're asking us what's the next step. So we at the last meeting decided to create this committee, but is it going to be an ad hoc, a short term? Who's going to write the charge? When these are just all sort of questions that we have been getting asked at the front desk. So we're just looking for direction.
Okay, so I guess the first question is the committee going to be sustained over the course of years? The answer probably would be no. So it would be an ad hoc committee.
Okay.
Okay, and would you agree? I don't wanna like do anything. So then, Andy, you are on, go.
I would say since this was the brainchild of our town planner, he should write the charge because he has a better handle on what they're looking for.
Great idea. Do you agree? So we'll have, write the charge, give him a time frame.
Okay.
And, then we'll have it available by next meeting.
That'd be great.
Good suggestion, Eddie. Any thoughts about that? Great. Next item under new business is the water study RFP, Economic Development and Sustainability Committee.
Well, I will speak to that. We received two RFPs responses. The committee picked Drumlin. They appeared to be more open to what we're looking for. We're gonna do a water capacity study to see if in the future we could possibly supply more water to the center of town.
So this is
Drumlin Environmental.
Drumlin or, I have Drumlin here. Is it Drumlin or Grumlin?
Drumlin,
This is pending town meeting approval of that 15,000.
correct.
Drumlin, has the committee notified Drumlin?
No, you have to approve tonight us to move forward to get a contract started. So they'll draft the contract, our attorneys will review, and then it would come before you to sign, hopefully at the next meeting.
So I would move that we approve Drumlin Environmental with their sub CA White and Associates to perform this should the town meeting approve.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve Drumlin's Environmental LLC, their RFP to fulfill the
Water capacity study.
water capacity study. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, so that'll go to Natalie.
Well, I will reach out to the contact and have them draft the contract and send it over, and then Natalie will review.
Next item on the agenda for new business is the Jordan Smith attorney meeting with the town attorney. So this is a discussion that there was a request from Mr. Smith's attorney to meet with the town attorney. I'll open the discussion up to the board, whether we allow the attorneys to meet together.
I'm not certain that that is an appropriate use of the town's attorney.
It's been not policy, it's been precedent not to allow private citizens to contact the town attorney, private matters.
So there's precedent for it, and is there a written policy regarding that?
I haven't found one. The next step for the Smith the Smith request is no longer with the attorney, it's with the ZBA. So we're not denying a resident any rights, we're just directing the resident towards the proper appeal process. Becky, would you like to comment on that? Is that correct?
That is my understanding that ZBA would be the next move. Yeah.
And the correspondence from the town attorney to Jordan Smith has been passed along.
That is correct. Yes.
So we don't. So since there's no written policy, we do not need to vote on this, but we should all be clear what the determination is. If we have any dissent, we should speak now.
No, I believe the ZBA is the logical next step,
Well, that's
legal next step.
That's the appropriate step for the citizen to follow.
It was made clear to me that that was the case.
Right? Approach the mic.
I've been very patient and gracious and taken all the steps that have been asked of me. My counsel is a cannabis expert. My other counsel is an expert mediator. I don't think it's appropriate to deny us some communication in this matter. I personally believe that Natalie lacks some understanding of the cannabis law. This has impacted me directly. It's impacted the flow of this process. And this is a time-sensitive situation for me. I stand to lose thousands of dollars a day if we have to shut down. And you might be able to see my little girl over there. She's 6 years old. This affects her. This affects her future. It affects my employees' future. It affects my future, my wife's future, generations from now's future. And I think that denying us a small amount of communication between my attorney and your attorney is not a big ask. And furthermore, would Natalie be counsel to the ZBA if we were to move on to that step? Or would,
Question.
that is a question, yes?
Natalie is the town attorney, yes.
Okay, well, so what do you anticipate her, answer to anything that we present in ZBA is gonna be? And how is that gonna change at all? And what's a way for me to do this that's fair to me as a citizen? Because, we're not being treated fairly by the town attorney. She's leaving us weeks at a time unanswered. She's giving us passive aggressive responses. She's being downright rude to me. And I have maintained composure through all of this. I have kept my mouth shut about things I know that could impact this in the long run. I really would appreciate the chance to communicate this further. And if not, I would really request that maybe you seek separate counsel moving into ZBA, because I don't think that it's fair for us to go through that process if we know that your counsel is going to deny anything we request.
I'm waiting for you.
Full stop.
Finish, great. So your appeal going to the zoning board of appeals is the same process that any other citizen would have after being denied by the code enforcement officer. If we were to do anything different, we'd be jeopardizing your appeal process. We have to follow the state mandated procedure.
Sure.
I would not want to jeopardize your appeal process by, let me finish, okay? By making a administrative mistake and jeopardizing any standing you might have with the zoning.
Okay. And what might that be?
The zoning board of appeal is an independent
Mhm.
board in the town and decides without interpretation from council. They decide on the merits of your appeal.
Okay.
They don't.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I understand this is important to you. I'm just trying to let you know that you're being treated
Yeah,
like any other citizen. And
sure.
I guess I can't speak any differently than as a chairperson of the select board. Your best opportunity to be heard
Mhm.
by an impartial board is the zoning board of appeals. I think you've heard what the town attorney says.
Yeah.
It hasn't been sort of positive to your process.
No, she's wrong about the laws.
Okay, well, I'm not an attorney. I'm only.
Neither am I, but I have to, so.
I'm only mandated by my job description
Mhm.
to listen to the attorney's opinion and to protect your welfare by giving you my advice
Okay.
to go through this process that way.
I understand that. I just want to reiterate, like, my biggest concern with going through I don't mind going through ZBA. My concern is Natalie's attachment to that and how that may influence the outcome of that situation and the gravity of that to my whole livelihood and my future and my family's future. So I just ask that you all take that into consideration and think, if you were in my situation and you had gone through one, well, we'll just say what it is, gone through the select board. The town council has been very clear that she disagrees with our interpretations of the law and has, in my opinion, not been gracious or polite in doing that. That's not required of her. It's not her job to be nice or polite. I understand that. But I think it's something, we should all give to one another as humans, being a little respectful and gracious. So that's my biggest concern. If it's going to be a board of impartial individuals, I'm okay with that. If they're led by somebody who has predetermined my loss, I'm concerned about that.
So as soon as you apply to appeal to
Mhm.
the zoning board, your contact person will be the chairperson of that board.
Okay.
You should make sure that your points in writing are made to
Mhm.
Mr. Tom Hall,
Okay,
if that's the process, and he will be able to steer you to make sure that you
Okay.
have all the advantages of any other citizen.
sure. And
I
then,
want to tell you,
Mhm.
Mr. Smith, that the zoning board of appeal is peopled by Pownell residents who have no agenda, who are picked for their impartiality.
Mhm.
And I have every confidence they will listen to you on the merits of your appeal.
yeah, I actually feel the same way. But yeah, I don't think I need to address what my concern is with this again. And, I appreciate you guys, taking this on. I know that, in some towns, I wouldn't even be given the opportunity to present my case, and I do truly appreciate that. I am, in fear for my future, but I respect all of your positions and the constraints that you need to work within, and I respect that, you think the best path forward is working with the ZBA. And, I'd like to confer with my counsel for 1 second and come right back. Okay, so we're gonna come in tomorrow and we'll file the appeal and we'll go from there. And could you just answer me one last question? And this may be there may not be a clear answer to this, but how long does that process typically take? And that, I'm sure that depends on what the particular thing is and many things, but is there a range?
There is a deadline.
Okay,
for appeal to be heard.
okay,
From the signing of the appeal.
Mhm.
30?
There's state statute for noticing and noticing the abutters. So what happens is when your appeal is filed, it goes to the chair.
Okay.
He then has to coordinate a date with the members. They make a date and we have to make sure that we still have the time to notice in the papers and send the abutters list. So it typically, if you're coming in tomorrow and it goes to them, it takes 3 to 4 weeks
Okay.
to get.
you understand that our business is sensitive and could be a target for,
Yep, I
people
understand,
that-
but I do have state statute of
Yep.
noticing that has to be, or you're.
yeah, you're giving us a level of exposure. I just want you to be aware of that through that action.
We are required though to do,
Yep.
to have.
Yeah, I understand. I know, again, I know you're working within your limits. So with that, I will exit and I thank you all for your time this evening and
Good luck.
have a great night.
All right, next item on the agenda is to sign, not to sign RFPs, it's to sign
The
RFPs.
sign RFPs. So all you have to do is just open and read them. And then from here, Mallet Hall Buildings and Grounds is going to evaluate and the chair of the committee is in attendance tonight, so we can hand them right over to her.
So the junior member always gets the opportunity to open and read.
Yeah, you can get the paper cuts.
I have been told that there's multiple proposals within, so each sign company submitted a couple of different options.
We don't need to take action.
We're just simply opening tonight in the public meeting.
give us a play-by-play commentary, as great or as little as you'd like. That we'll pass that on to the. How's that look?
Great. Looks great. Okay, we have a number of different
You
options.
just read where the company is. That's really all we need you to do.
We have a digital sign agreement from ADN Internet and Telephone, which has an appearance like this, or maybe a few different options. That's the only one in that envelope. And I believe that's the only one in that file.
Okay? And if you'd open the other one, we could.
Are there multiple ones in this one?
They both said that they had submitted a couple of different
Options.
So that.
You're excited.
Picture of it.
So there may be, in the first one you opened, I know those are samples of signs they've done, and there may be like a couple of different quotes within it.
This is Neocraft Signs out of Lewiston. Proposal.
Great.
We have a few different proposals. We have a bunch of different proposals from them.
Busy.
No pictures?
Any pictures in these? This proposal is 2 pages. Not sure what the differences are.
There is a whole packet of pictures, I believe, too.
Probably
Messed about.
keep them separate. Yeah. Just thinking this. Ooh.
Here we have Cirrus. Increase your sales with Cirrus. Completely different proposal. Lower cost, increased quality. Simply more pixels.
All right, well, we will pass that on to the committee. I'm so excited. They finally have.
A lot of. material.
Kathy sitting on the edge of her seat.
Kathy. One is not. Do you, well, we can come in and make copies and of that. So do you,
And alcohol being around the way.
are you going to have like a combination meeting of the two? Okay, when are you thinking of? Okay. Okay, sounds good.
Okay, 20 there.
Look forward with bated breath. Thank you. Stay. Oh, you're welcome to pick up the material right now.
I'll come in and make copies here.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah, sure. Good. All right, is there any other new business to come before the board? So I think the T-shirt is done. I think she sent it, but I can't see us getting it together.
I was gonna project it, but we are having a TV malfunction tonight. So she did send a scan of a bunch of images, yeah.
Our timeline is, right, yeah. It was a good idea, but, sorry. So we were gonna print out T-shirts for the kids, but
The brown tail.
didn't work, and, you know, it was just kind of a feel-good idea, not necessarily.
On a quick update, they are going to be maybe by this weekend doing the treatment of the cemeteries. So, Conservation Commission met with, with a company, Dick, why I can't think of his name now off the top of my head. I've had several conversations with him, but I spoke with him this morning. And he's hoping to maybe do it next Monday. It looks like there might be a window of opportunity. He's gotten the materials. This is the organic pesticide he's using. And we're notifying the abutting neighbors that we had to. So we will have used that whole portion of the grant by next week.
So the next meeting, we should evaluate whether or not the town, I mean, how do we respond to getting the grant? Do we use it effectively? We should really have some kind of evaluation of us. I mean, evaluation of town response. Could we have done it better? So let's put that on for next meeting. Absolutely.
My understanding is that individual residents, may approach the town for some, support in, remediation efforts. Do we have that process in place?
As far as under the grant being reimbursed, if they hire someone,
Yeah.
we will not have any money left. Once we do this treatment on Monday, we will have spent that portion of the grant.
Oh, what am I supposed to do by my boss? That's fine. Thank you.
Oh, we did. Well, we did disperse quite a bit of money to private citizens.
We did, yeah. It's in process right now of being approved.
Okay,
So
great.
some that had done some work a couple of months ago.
Okay,
We had a field day and people signed up and we
yeah, okay,
first serve. I think we had no other way to.
okay. Yeah, no, I was just unaware of that, but that's great. Thank
You're a day late and a dollar short, Bo.
Well, and I think one of the things to talk about is, do we make sort of that clipping party an annual event? So that's something that we should really talk about when we do the eval of everything that we did in March. So.
Talk about, so. As a contact person, I've been asked if we want to reapply for that grant.
Okay.
So I think we should talk about it and whether or not it was effective for the people who were reimbursed to serve their, but did it really effectively help brown tail moth mitigation? Want to make sure we evaluate it appropriately. So maybe next year. There was a very, just FYI, I think I heard Matt talk about it. It was a very interesting article in the paper about how there's a potential fungus that may really decimate the brown tail moth population. Did you read that, Matt?
I heard it on a radio report.
Yeah. So
I think it's coming out of Portland Press Herald also.
yeah, it was in the paper today. So decimate, which I love that word when it comes to brown tail moth. What?
What else?
It's called the zombie fungus. Which is a great word. All right, so is there any other new business? Sorry about. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
So I'm looking to talk to the select board. I've been looking around for a few different an equipment trailer for the Public Works Department that would not fall under CIP. It would be less than this, and I would use existing monies from my unspent 2023-2024 budget. And with that being said, I've looked around and I've looked at a few of them, and I have a letter of intent from Michelle and Todd Harrison for the amount of $4,000 to be spent on a used equipment trailer that would serve the purpose of the town until the tracked excavator is no longer here. Seems how we're voting to have the next excavator be a wheeled excavator. This would not be a CIP item. It would be a one-time buy that the town would purchase. So I have a letter of intent to move forward if the select board would let me do so.
Comments?
I feel it's in the best interest of the town as they've been borrowing trailers or hiring someone to haul their equipment from site to site.
Sounds good to me.
And like I said, we've looked it over and I have extra money from this year that would, I'll be able to buy this through and it's gonna be kind of, it's not something we'd use all the time, but then we'll at least have our own, so, thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions? Good.
I was surprised you got it by Mr. Schuman.
Me too.
All right, no other new business. Any old? Oh, come on, man.
Just a quick question about the trailer. Is that something that could be used at like these community events? Cause someone brought their private one as a stage.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause there's the community thing, or maybe next October.
The only thing that,
What?
yes,
Oh, I was picturing a work trailer. Okay.
no, it's similar to the one that's sitting in the yard right now,
That's great.
but that's actually no.
Good.
Yeah,
One less thing, right?
as long as it went along with the town's insurance. I don't know how that is,
Right.
but other than that.
So the, a recreation committee event, it's covered,
Perfect.
yeah.
Amazing how quickly we go down the rabbit hole.
Can we tap dance on it, Matt?
All right,
How many people?
we all step up to the mic on this one too, you know? All right. Is there any old business? Seeing none. Is there any correspondence? Becky?
I did not have any trash correspondence today, unusually. We had a visit from a Layton Road resident complaining about a ever-growing pile of trash on the edge of the road. My conversation brief with this person, the trash consisted of sawdust and acorns. We wrote a note to the road commissioner and that's where we left it. That was,
Sure that goes to the minutes.
Mhm.
That particular person has called me on numerous occasions. I have not been able to respond in a manner that has pleased him yet. I'm still looking for the right answer. Any other correspondence? Good, bad, indifferent? Any other business? Miss Hogue.
I just want to report that. I just want to report that Community Day is up and running and we have a lot of people coming and hope you all can come. We'll move in. Yes,
The town truck's in here?
no. Town truck will stay outside, right?
Great, I look forward to it. I'm excited. That is a Saturday. What time does it start?
10,
10 o'clock.
10 and 2.
Great, I think that, unless there's any other business, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
A second.
All in favor? Thank you all for attending.